Thank you very much. Welcome everybody once again to our monthly webinars. And the exciting thing around this is really the topic we're going to be covering. And it's so important on us to hear more from Seda. As you all know, Seda is part of our partners, is the partner with IBASA and the EPI. And today's topic is really what is Seda's DEF strategy implementation. And it's so exciting because we will have Yolisa Mkhize talking about that. But before we get into that, I'm going to invite Derek really again to kind of give a touch while he's unmuting and turning his video on what we're doing here every month and how we all started. Over to you, Derek.
Thank you, Sis Torega. If you call me Derek, I will still call you Sis Torega. and with Martin Feinstein, welcome. Sir, I did not mention you in my opening in the welcome, and Rashida, our colleague, welcome also. And yeah, and thank you for those who have joined later. I see the numbers are growing. We are sitting at 140 something, and which is good for us and also for everybody. Which also shows that the topic today is more relevant, but also we know that we have the loyal members that are always joining us from Seda, from IBASA, and from EPI. This is a collaboration between EPI, IBASA, and Seda that we have been going on for a number of years now, and we are looking forward to go on for years to come. And the purpose is just to empower entrepreneurs, business advisors, and service providers out there with knowledge. And also, I believe that this also will work best for your CPD points. So we are looking forward to having you today, and to our guests, Yolisa, feel free. This is your platform, and we are here to learn, and we are ready to learn. And I believe that more will be shared about our organizations at the end. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very much, Derek. And as usual, we always get our session started with a poll. And I'd really like to invite you to participate in our poll as we're going to run it now. And let's launch it. And let's explore these two questions that we have. Two questions. And really our first question is around do you believe there needs to be more coordination for BDS delivery at a district level? Yes or no? And then question 2 is, do you believe Seda could play a more active role in building the capacity of BDS practitioners? Okay. So, and if you just want to elaborate a little more, please feel free to add your thoughts in the chat as well. That will also be allowed, and it will be actually encouraged if so. To get some more different insight around that. And can you all see the poll? It's interesting to see what's happening here. Before also, I will then call Sis Bongi in a minute. So it's interesting, around 97% believe yes. They do believe that there needs to be more coordination of BDS delivered in district level, versus there's like 4 who say, no, we don't think so. And those who say no, feel free to share in the chat. What are your thought processes around the no? It'll be very insightful, I think, for that. And then we have 3 people who believe no, they don't believe that Seda could play a role or a more active role in building the capacity of BDS practitioners as well. So please feel free to share in the chat. Those no's are amazing because that can open up some insight that some of us might not have thought of, but it's always a learning. And I will end the poll. We have a good 67% of everyone who's contributed so far, but let's move it up a little more to about 70, at least 70%, so we can list out of 150 of you or 149 of you who are here at the moment. I would love to have a good 70%. There we go. We have 70% participation in this question. And there we go. And I'm sharing the results. And those are the results. Those are interesting results. I don't know if Sisbongi would like to talk to some of that thought process of that result by any chance. You can switch on your video if you would like. And yeah, any thought around that, Sisbongi? Do you have a thought? Are you there?
Okay. Yes, I'm here. Yes, these results are quite interesting, colleagues, and maybe before I could even comment, I just want to say once more, thank you for coming to this webinar and for us to be able to present this important topic again, which is around the DEF model. And coming back to the results, these are very, very interesting results. Simply confirms that coordination of BDS delivery is very, very important. And this has been an ongoing concern for many years. And all the stakeholders have been concerned in terms of the uncoordinated BDS delivery that has been there for quite some time now. And it's also very, very interesting to know that even this group or these colleagues that are in this webinar today, they also feel the same, that there should be a well-coordinated effort in terms of BDS delivery. And also, the other interesting thing that has come out is around the capacity building of practitioners. And when it comes to this area, 96% of the people in this room agree that Seda should be driving the capacity building of practitioners. And for me, this is the validation of what is in the Act. Because when you look in the Act also says Seda must drive the capacity building of the BDS, business development, small business development practitioners, simply because quality of services offered to small enterprises depends on the services rendered by the small business development practitioner. So the skills, the relevant skills of that person must be enhanced all the time. The knowledge of that person must be enhanced all the time so that they become relevant and also be able and be effective and efficient when it comes to supporting the small businesses in South Africa. Thank you, colleagues, and thank you, Thobeka.
Thank you, Sisbongi. Well, the million-dollar question here is, what does BDS mean? What does it stand for?
BDS, is that the question directed to me, Thobeka?
Anyone. Oh, and then Luvuyo answered it. So it's in the chat, and don't feel that it's a stupid question at all. It's a good question. It's business development services. Thank you very much, Brenda. Thank you very much, Luvuyo. Yes, it is an acronym. Thank you very much. So I was just making it comfortable for us who don't know what these things are. And DEF. So DEF will be explained. As Sisbongi will now introduce our lovely speaker, and then we'll hand over to her so that I can start sharing her slides. Over to you again, Sisbongi.
Thank you so much, colleague and colleagues. It just gives me pleasure to introduce this important person for today. Yolisa Mkhize is my colleague. She works for Seda, and she is a senior manager, stakeholder management and PR. And this unit is located within the office of the CEO in Seda. And she's very, very instrumental when it comes to the DEF model. And she'll be the person that is presenting to you the strategy that Seda has adopted in terms of aligning Seda when it comes to the district development model that was developed by COCTA in the past. So I'm not going to get more into what the DEF model is about, or even what the district development model is about, because I want to leave that to Yolisa, who will be taking you through to what these strategies or models are about. And we are hoping that by the time you leave this platform, you will have an understanding and of what the DEF model is about and what is Seda's role in terms of driving this important strategy. And we also want to say this strategy is not just for Seda, but this strategy is for the ecosystem. So you are very important to us. You are the most important stakeholders because we are dependent on you in terms of implementing the strategy. Over to you, Yolisa.
Thank you so much, Bongi, and to you, Thobeka and Derek, for affording both Martin and myself this platform for us to come and share the district ecosystem facilitation strategy. Like Martin introduced himself as an expert from the EU, he'll assist me with taking questions at the end of the presentation or during the presentation. If you can please share the presentation, Thobeka. I think, as we say here at Seda, and the strategy is being implemented by the small business development portfolio, and that portfolio includes the Department of Small Business Development, ourselves as Seda, and CIFA, our sister agency, as well as CBDA. It's a program that's currently housed at National Treasury that deals with cooperatives. Now we're saying we need to claim our future within the ecosystem. The outline for this presentation, and I just take this as a conversation with all the participants in this platform. I'll share our mandate because basically the strategy, the DEF strategy, is for us to ensure that we satisfy what our mandate demands of us, but also just to indicate the systemic challenges that we raised at the time, which made us come up with this strategy, and then provide a background to why is it that we are implementing the strategy, the purpose of the strategy itself, provide you with a roadmap that we developed through EDSE, and provide a high-level roadmap to indicate what it is that we had achieved on that roadmap, and then finally share with you the work streams that are assisting in implementing this DEF strategy. Next slide. Okay. Now, the National Small Enterprise Act, as amended, I mean, the mandate is split into three. First, we were expected to design and implement a standard national delivery network that uniformly applies throughout the Republic in respect of small enterprise development. We have somewhat done this, and we've done this through the 53 branches that we have across the country. We also sign agreements with 110 incubators. Those incubators are sector-based. We have a construction incubator, a furniture incubator, an agricultural incubator, an ICT incubator. We have 110 of those. And only recently, we decided to also venture into going into townships and rural areas, because the aim was to ensure that the SMMEs only have a 50-kilometer radius to reach the services that we're providing. So we have somewhat done the delivery network, and the mandate also expected us to integrate all government-funded small enterprise support agencies across all spheres of government. Now, there are 3 spheres of government: at national, at provincial, and at local. Now, finally, according to the mandate, we're supposed to facilitate, develop, coordinate, and foster partnerships across all spheres of government. Now, the 3 spheres of government, and also with the private sector and any other relevant stakeholder that may assist us as an agency to achieve our objectives. Move to the next slide. Thank you. Now, the systemic challenges that were discovered when we did consultations with a broad range of ecosystem stakeholders. This survey or consultation with the ecosystem stakeholders was done in 2018, and we identified that the challenges that were there, which led us to coming up with this district ecosystem facilitation strategy. The first one was the fragmented and uncoordinated nature of support delivery, and followed by an inadequate access to affordable and quality BDS, I won't say business development support or service. And thirdly, the need for a broader reach of delivery, and also the lack of meaningful SMME data, as well as the lack of a clear ecosystem functional framework to maximize delivery synergies, particularly with regard to rural and township enterprises and the SMME market access. And finally, the trust deficit between the private sector and the public sector. We as Seda then developed the dev strategy, with us trying to respond to these challenges, but also in us fulfilling what the mandate expected of us. You can go to the next slide. Now, just to give you a bit of a background, the small business sector has changed and continues to change in some fundamental ways that are relevant to us as a portfolio now, not only us as Seda, as the portfolio. And the BDS sector has become very active with a great deal of innovation, a multitude of role players, from business advisors to growth accelerators, from startup movements to venture builder networks, and everything else in between. To remain relevant and fulfill our mandate as Seda, but also as the portfolio, we need to evolve and adapt to this vibrant and competitive ecosystem, whilst at the same time being able to customize the services to the needs of the different districts, because I think, as you know, in the 52 districts and the 44 districts and the 8 metros, each of them is unique. I'm now reading the 4th bullet point. Unlike a normal program, which is fully developed and only then implemented, the dev strategy is more like a journey where new methodologies, services, partnerships, and products are designed, developed, and delivered in collaboration with the ecosystem as the environment and SMME needs evolve. Well, we understand as the portfolio that this is a challenging approach, but if we want to be the primary actor within the ecosystem, and as our mandate demands, we need to adapt everything that we do as a portfolio. Next slide. The purpose of DEF, well, as a strategy, is to coordinate within the 44 districts and 8 metros, SMME support and service delivery ecosystem. And we're doing this to improve the quality, to improve the reach, and improve the impact of business development support service at local level or at district level, which is aligned to Seda's defined approach or the portfolio's defined approach, to support the aim of the DEF strategy and to provide a comprehensive and ongoing data view of the BDS ecosystem in South Africa. Seda requires an information technology system in order for us to do this, to have a comprehensive ongoing data view. We need an information technology system that will enable us as the organization, but also as the portfolio, to not only deliver small business support, but also to coordinate such support and play our role in as a government, playing a role, as Bongi mentioned, within the district development model or the government's broader district delivery approach. Now, that information management system is the district information management system, which we see as a major value offering to support the value proposition for DEF. Now, what is this DIMS, District Information Management System? It's a software application designed to facilitate the management of various administrative and operational activities at district level. Can we go to the next slide? Now, like I indicated, when we developed the DEF, we were supported by the Ecosystem Development for Small Enterprise, which is an EU program from which Martin comes from. And we started this in 2019. We had a fast lane team that was running with us. As a result, we had a pilot at the OR Tambo district, and that pilot is still continuing. We had changes within Seda in leadership, and we hosted during the 2020 lockdown virtual provincial ecosystem engagements. And from those engagements, the feedback that we got was what we used to improve on what we were doing. We also introduced change management, and from the fast lane, or the DEF as it stands, it's got an element within it at district level where there are no structures of DDM. We established the district SMME coordinating councils. That's what the DSCC stands for. And we also communicated to staff on an ongoing basis. We developed the business advisory standards as well as the incubator and accelerator standards. Now, what we then started doing last year and are continuing to do this, we developed under the current 2021-22 to 2022-23, we developed the value propositions for key ecosystem segments who are both public and private sector. We established work streams and a coordinating committee. The work streams were to assist in us implementing this at district level, with a coordinating committee overseeing the work of the work streams. We also are currently developing an ecosystem database. We currently have about 38 districts. We are actually going to the 52 districts, the 44 and the 8 metros, and a mapping, ecosystem mapping from the database. We also implemented an ADGA change management, and through EDSC, they provided us with experts who on change management, who were running sessions with the coordinating committee. We also continued to communicate to internal staff, to EXCO, and to our board. Now, we still need to develop the communication strategy. We are in discussions on us getting the DIMS The advocacy role will continue, and risk assessment and management will also continue. We'll also need to map the opportunities at district level to assist the people at district level, particularly the SMMEs. Now, what we had hoped to do in 2023 and going forward was for us to launch the DIMS, which we still believe it's possible, and to have a rollout plan for DIMS, whilst also tracking the partner contribution through DIMS, building the capacity for both the branch and the ecosystem partners and staff at district level. The district ecosystem facilitation communication campaign will come up as soon as we're ready with DIMS. Ecosystem stakeholder engagement, these continue on an ongoing basis. For some reason, I can't read the last word there. Now, go to the next thanks. This indicates what we've done from that roadmap, this high level, like I indicated, the roadmap were developed, and the strategic value propositions were developed. And these SVPs were for the private sector and the public sector. And within the public sector, we had one that looked at local government, which is both the district and the local municipalities. We had one that looked at state-owned enterprises, SOEs. We had one that looked at BDS practitioners or providers like yourselves. We also established the 7 work streams, which I'll discuss, I think, in the next slide. Each work stream has got a leader, and each work stream had to come up with a work plan on how they will take their work forward. Each work stream had to come up with a charter. Now, all these work streams, like I indicated earlier, provided guidance by the coordinating committee. And thus, I'm using the small blue ball there. All this work is supported by Seda-wide change management. And these are the work that happened pre us acquiring the DIMS system. Now, post-DIMS, we're hoping to onboard SMMEs, partners, and funders, as well as yourselves who are on the platform, practitioners, an opportunity to disseminate information through DIMS. We will develop the content for DIMS, have track the interventions that happen on DIMS, again, build the capacity of the ecosystem, have a communication campaign. Now, we're hoping this work will be supported by the DIMS system, and the system will allow us to share the data from the system, share the opportunities that have been loaded on the system, and share BDS reports on the interventions that the SMMEs have received. Next slide. Now, these are the 7 work streams and the coordinating committee or implementation management coordinating committee. I did indicate when I first started that this is done by the portfolio, which includes DSPD, ourselves as Seda, and CIFA, as well as CBDA. The names of the people that are highlighted in red all are workstream leads that serve in the coordinating committee. And the 7 work streams are, we have a stakeholder engagement and communication work stream. We also have a change management work stream. We have a research and information sharing work stream. We also have a BDS services integration. Within this work stream, we have people who are working on market access, those who are working on access to finance, those who would work on identifying the opportunities within the district. We also have those who are working with incubators. Now, it's through this work stream, the capacity building and best practice, that we got the opportunity to come and share with the practitioners on this platform what DEF is about. And the next one is shared infrastructure. For physical, it looks at like I indicated, we have almost done with the delivery network, and the physical looks at the co-locations that we have within the municipalities, but also I did indicate that we're now trying to go to township and rural areas, and the practitioners who are there, who are providing services on behalf of Seda, are also looked as the physical. Now the digital is looking at largely the DIMS, District Information Management System. And like I indicated, we still are in discussions on how we finalize us getting that system. The final work stream, it's business processes and rules, which is led by Di Mutibe, but also we have a business continuity and improvement as well as risk, which is led by Di Baloyi. I think this is the last slide. I'll now take questions. Thank you very much for listening. We'll take questions.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Sis Yolisa Mkhize. Oh, look at those virtual claps. Thank you. Let's give her a hand of applause. Let's give her team a hand of applause. And really, yes, thank you very much for your time. We can, just to kind of give you a breath, I don't know if there was anything that our other colleagues picked up in the Q&A. Martin, is there anything you want to explore or elaborate on some of the common questions that came out in the session, in the questions that you have answered some? Over to you, Martin.
Thanks, Tobeka. Yeah, I've been really busy on the Q&A channel. A couple of people, well, more than a couple, are keeping me really busy with some really good questions, some tough questions too. Yeah, just to pick up on a couple of the issues raised. So one attendee asked, you know, what is the final structure going to look like with this district ecosystem facilitation model? Maybe we've got to have a more user-friendly name. There is no final structure, right? This is a journey. I mean, this is about helping to reorientate a big, complex organization. I mean, Seda has, you know, Seda has a physical presence in every district in the country, not every municipality, but in every district and some municipalities. It's not a quick and easy thing to shift an organization from being a single channel of delivery, like a one-way street, pushing products and services into the SMME sector, to a more thoughtful, a more engaging organization that is able to understand the unique needs and circumstances in each district, and then work with other ecosystem role players to figure out the best way to meet those needs, right? It's a journey to become that organization that is a facilitator, a coordinator, maybe not an orchestrator, but certainly a facilitator and coordinator, to try and ensure that in each district, the needs are clearly understood, the needs of small businesses are clearly understood, and then the way those needs are met in that district are calibrated to meet those needs, and not some artificial one-size-fits-all kind of response. And then one of the questions was, because as you may know, the intention is that there will be a new agency that combines Seda and CIFA into one integrated organization, where you have less of a gap between the provision of financial and non-financial support. Will this be continued with that new organization? So I think, yes, the delivery model of the new organization will not suddenly change direction again and come up with a whole new different strategy. It will continue this approach. And then there was quite a lot of interest in what these new digital platforms are going to look like. Again, developing a digital platform for this ecosystem, and to have a platform that is meaningful in terms of adding real value on the SMME side as well as the practitioner side. Again, extremely complex. If you think about all the different types of SMME, the different sectors, it's a big thing. It's a big project, but it's underway. And the vision is that there will be one digital platform that small businesses can go to access maybe not every single available financial product or business development service, but certainly a rich destination for support and resources and access to services, which is kind of missing at the moment, right?
Great, thank you. Thank you very much, Martin. Any other colleagues that picked up important questions? I do see two hands. I don't know if Ernest, your hand was up earlier in error, but just so you know, your virtual hand is up. And Richard Ngobeni, I see your hand. I will bring you in a minute. Let's see what is happening first in the Q&A to make sure we answered all the questions and people are feeling comfortable. Thank you very much, everyone, for your questions. Thank you, Martin, a lot for being on top of it and responding. You are very busy indeed.
I've now fallen behind. There's now a whole lot of, while I was talking, the questions are streaming in. So I'm falling behind in my response rate.
And some of them, you can just read them. We can just read them and answer them as well. But I think I'll also bring Yolisa in now. I just gave her a breath after that amazing presentation, and that we're all happy about. I don't know if you picked anything up, Yoli, while Martin was chatting that you would like to share. Elaborate on anything else, or are you good for now?
Well, thanks, Tobek. I was relying largely on Martin. He's my shining armor. He answers all the questions. I let him answer all the questions, but also Bongi can assist with some of the questions that relate particularly to the practitioners. And I think Martin was trying to regroup all the questions that we got that are largely aligned to deaf and DIMS. I was trying to go through the Q&A to see if there are other questions that he had not answered when you caught me. So I'm not sure if we can go through that list.
So let's allow some of the hands. I'll give him an opportunity to talk. I'll give Ernest, because he's at top, and Richard. So please unmute yourself when you come on, and please share your thoughts. So unmute yourself and you can talk. Ernest, over to you.
How are you?
I'm very well. How are you doing?
Super.
Wonderful.
I've applied as Seda last year. And then the lady was holding my application form. She resigned.
Got you.
And then when I inquire, no further communication. It says I have to start from scratch.
Got you.
All application. And then it was at the Captain Park branch. How do we handle that situation? So I have to start from scratch again and again.
Okay, great. Sorry, thank you very much, Ernest, for sharing that. And it's in Kempton Park. Sorry that you're going through that. And I know that my colleagues are also sorry, Sisbongi and Putboni, as well as Yolisa and Martin. I don't know, Sisbongi, do you want to answer that? We can put that in the chat in response to help him out there. So then I can bring Richard on what process or journey should he go through, or should I just let Yolisa, can you answer that as well? Or should we?
Okay, yes, Tobeka. You know, I think some of the questions, maybe I will leave my email address and people can email me privately, because some of the questions are more personal. I will rather focus on the presentation, which is the DEF model. So I'm going to type my email address, and people who have personal questions, they can email me those and I will respond. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Oh, look at those thumbs up. Thank you very much. So any of you whose hands are up and are having an issue around the same issue, please feel free to put your hand down. Otherwise, over to you, Richard.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. My name is Richard, Director of Zingeli Enterprise Business Development from Akonu. So I have a similar question like the last gentleman was given the platform.
Okay.
I did also.
Sorry, Richard. Gobeni. Sorry, I can't hear you. Sorry, give me
my background. My apologies because I'm in my business.
I know, Putrichi. Mamela get Putrichi adne. Since it's a similar situation as your previous colleague, Mosna, you just said, Nangusus Bongi put her details in the chat, okay? And I will put it up again and stuff. And then can you go back to her? Because I really want us to use this opportunity to speak to these experts here, Yabon, not to dampen you. I'm not here to dampen your spirit. I got you. Thank you very much. And I will now give the opportunity to Simpiwe. Are you a practitioner, and is it also a question around the topic, right? And then I will allow you to talk, as well as Guguletu. I'll have you in, and then after Simpiwe is done, I hand over to you. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for putting this platform for us. Would like to push for more business practitioners to be put in place. The reason I'm saying that is that currently we have a huge number of people that are complaining with the service that we not getting from the system, from the government, which is, for one, was SIFA. They are short staff, and then the issue that we're getting is that they are not even trying to respond to the people. What they're only doing now, because they are in a hurry, they will just decline people without prior evaluation. And then secondly, I've got a proven email from the Department of Small Business. They are also having a 2-year backlog. So every day people are opening businesses, and every day people want to apply, and then they hear about these funds, but these funds, they're not getting to them. And then it ended up, we are not going anywhere as a country or as people in business, because of we can't all work 9 to 5. There are people that are going to be in business. So I would like this opportunity to be given to more practitioners. You sit down and then you spread into different disciplines and industries, so that whenever people apply, they are directed to those practitioners. By the time they get to the SIFA or Seda, they already have a clear documentation, everything is going to be processed, then they get the funds or whatever that they need. Then life, it becomes much more simple for you guys and also for everyone that is applying. Thanks for taking my question.
Thank you, Simpiwe. Thank you very much. Any thought on that, Sisuli?
I just saw a chat from a colleague from SIFA, Don Mashele, to say anybody who has questions regarding SIFA should please use his email.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, I just show a chat from Don. So because I heard when the last speaker was talking, he mentioned SIFA. So Don sent a chat with his email address.
Yes, thank you very much, Yolisa. Don Mashele, thank you very much, Don, for coming to the platform and really collaborating, I think. And this is just a good example of all the different agencies within the department working together. And Don, thank you very much. We see your email. We'll copy and paste it again. Rashida, can I invite you? Just copy and paste it so everyone can have it over there. So guys, let's remember, we have our experts here. Let's make sure it's questions around that. It's questions around what can we as practitioners do to help our clients to use this strategy, this platform that has been shared with us. Over to you, Kukuletu.
Hi, everyone. Sis Tobeka, can you hear me?
Very well, thank you. Over to you, Puti.
Okay,
All set?
beautiful. Thank you for the opportunity. And thank you as well to the presenters for the valuable information. So I'm an enterprise development practitioner, right? And I'm really interested in entrepreneurial ecosystem development within South Africa, right? So my question revolves around the presentations. So one, I want to know what are some of the opportunities to be as an enterprise development practitioner to be a district ecosystem partner, because I saw on the presentation there was something about that. I want to know what the avenues are there and what can we do as enterprise development practitioners to contribute to the DIMS, because we also interact with these business advisors. I mean, we also interact with small businesses as well. So we're on the ground. So I think we could have a valuable voice to contribute. So I want to know as well, like, what can we do to contribute to DIMS? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Kukuletu. Over to you, Martin.
Yeah, thanks, Kukuletu, for opening up the issue of enterprise and development. And I'm gonna say enterprise and supplier development, because then we can also link that to the broad-based Black economic empowerment framework, of which enterprise and supplier development is the biggest component, right, of all the BBBE score elements. ESD is the biggest one. So I'm assuming that when you say you're an enterprise development practitioner, you also are working in that ESD space, either with corporates and or with beneficiary EMEs or QSEs. So one thing I'd like to bring to the attention of everybody, it may not be relevant to everybody, but I think it's worth just flagging, is one of the things that we've done from our perspective, the EDSE perspective. We looked at ESD and what's happening in the enterprise and supplier development space. And if you look at the really amazing work done by Sanlam and their Gauge report, I'll put the details in the chat when I'm finished. Extensive research was done into BBBE and how it's working and what's working and where it's not working. And if you look at, for example, at the social development element of BBBE, corporates are shooting the lights out. They're getting 120% on the scorecard. They're just shooting the lights out. I mean, it's unbelievable what's happening. not just in terms of the spend, but the actual outcomes. But if you look at ESD, which is all about supporting the inclusion of entrepreneurs and small Black-owned businesses and medium Black-owned businesses into the mainstream economy through grooming new Black-owned suppliers and then contracting them and then helping them to grow, that's at 60%. It's nowhere near 100%. So what's going on here? So that's a huge gap, right? That's unfulfilled potential. So we have facilitated the launch of, in fact, it was launched earlier this month by Minister Stella. We've launched a community of practice for ESD practitioners. And there are two dimensions to this. The one is for ESD practitioners that are sitting and working in corporates and developing and implementing ESD programs. And the amount of money that's being spent and that the practitioners have at their disposal is staggering. It's 3% of net profit after tax for all corporates, all measured entities, SOEs. It's an enormous amount of money. In fact, nobody really knows exactly how much money it is. But it's probably the biggest single source of money going into enterprise development in the country. And yet it's not really being optimized, and it's certainly not being tracked in terms of impact. And the role of the practitioner is key. The kinds of programs that are being designed and implemented by the practitioners in the corporates, there's very little best practice, there's very little knowledge sharing, there's very little research, there's very little understanding of what's actually going on in the space. So this community of practice, which is a joint initiative between, at the moment, there are 10 corporates that are involved in helping to set this up. The department, DTIC are all involved. And the intention is to really ensure that the impact of ESD practice and the implementation of ESD programs and the spend is getting results. It's actually getting small businesses off this roundabout of continual training and mentorship and actually into supply chains. And the reason I'm bringing this up for Gugulethu is that the second dimension is for consultants who are actually executing programs for corporates. And that chapter of the community of practice is not open yet, but it's coming. So I just wanted to flag this initiative, in which Seda is playing an instrumental role, by the way, alongside the department. And Seda is also very serious about ramping up its work in this ESD space. So it's a great initiative, and maybe we can have a dedicated session on this, because I know there are a lot of consultants and practitioners in that space who would be interested in this community of practice. And just one final point, because Rebecca, I can see you getting you're getting antsy.
No, it's excitement. No, this is a lot of awesomeness. So,
you know, what's the community of practice actually going to do? I mean, it sounds great, but what's it actually going to do? So Seda is just for starters spending 3 million Rand to develop a series of masterclasses for ESD practitioners to help equip them with the skills, the capacity, the knowledge, the research to develop and implement better, more effective ESD programs. Seda is also going to be funding research in the space, and the community of practice will be offering regular masterclasses and access to e-learning content for ESD practitioners. So that's what this community of practice is all about. And I think it's a really, it's a quiet initiative at the moment. It's not getting a lot of, you know, fanfare and publicity, but it doesn't need that. This is really very focused on the practitioners and building the capacity of practitioners, the knowledge of practitioners, so that the impact can really come through and more businesses can get into corporate and SOE supply chains.
I'm just taking a moment.
Thanks,
I haven't
Rebecca.
frozen. Thank you very much, Martin. I'm just giving us a minute to have all of that information land for us. We will surely call you on that topic around discussing this more, if you can, and we can come up with an idea around that. Thank you very much. I hope there's just a lot that's been shared there. I can't even process it right now. Nomvuyo, I have allowed you to talk, and also Zandile. Let's keep the momentum going on that. Over to you, Nomvuyo.
Thank you, Tobeka. Thank you, Seda, Yolisa, and Bongi, and Martin. Thank you so much for all the information. I am Nomvuyo Bengane. I am a business coach and a director at EPI, the Entrepreneurial Planning Institute, as well as at Bees Oil Institute. There are two things that I would like to comment on. And one of them is that, Martin, I'm not sure whether you are saying Guguletu has no place within DEF. He should try, maybe I didn't hear it well, he should try that wonderful initiative that is being started. I'm not sure if I heard you well on that. Is there space for business practitioners within a DEF for them to facilitate something in their districts? And I do have another question. Yes.
Go ahead, Nomvuyo.
In DIMS, I'm glad that you are going to change the name so that it's not, doesn't sound as if it's dimming us down. Yeah, in DIMS, I didn't see, I really like it. I like the fact that there's going to be an integration of access to markets, access to funding and all of that, but I didn't see if how DIMS is going to help in monitoring impact, in measuring impact.
Okay, Tobeka, can I come in? Can I?
Yes, go ahead, it's flowing nicely.
So the first question was around, is there, where does Google Etu fit into the ESD, was it the ESD community of practice?
DEF.
DEF.
Oh, DEF. Okay.
DEF.
So
yes.
Yes. So I think there are three ways that a practitioner fits into DEF, or let's put it a different way. It's not about the practitioner fitting into DEF. It's about how is DEF going to serve the practitioner in order to better serve the SMME sector that a particular practitioner is working with, or the whole sector. I think the first is in terms of capacity, because part of the district ecosystem facilitation model, and yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. Is he frozen or am I frozen?
You may be going into load shedding.
You want to respond to that, Sis Yolisa?
I think thanks, Nomvuyo, for that question.
Building of the ecosystem is key.
Martin is still, you froze, Martin, for a minute.
Be close to internal capacity, right? I mean, IBASA is a powerful capacity building organization. It's not just a membership organization. So developing the different types of practitioners from mentors right through to incubators is really important in terms of upskilling, developing more of a professional framework for qualifications and professionalization of BDS. That's key. So capacity is one angle. Then DIMS is the other angle, because what DIMS will allow is for shared tracking of SMME journeys. You know, in the same way that in an ideal health system, if you go to this hospital, they can see what medications you're on and what procedures you've had and what your story is. You don't have to tell your story each time. You go to a different doctor or a different hospital, they can access the same records. So you've got a shared history. There's a shared information journey. And practitioners will be able to contribute to that information pool and access that information pool. So when you're working with an SMME, your reporting inputs are then going to be visible to other role players that have the necessary rights and permissions to have access to that information with the permission of the entrepreneur or the SMME, right? And then finally, in terms of delivery, we do want these digital platforms to make practitioners more visible to the market and make it easier for small businesses from informal to formal to find the right source of help for what they need. So visibility and supporting improved delivery, capacity building, and a digital platform with shared information that also allows you to better track your impact and also see what other support that your client has received or is receiving. Because, you know, we know there's a lot of duplication in the space, right? Okay, now I've forgotten the second part of the question.
It was about impact. But before you answer, it was about impact. But before you answer that, I would just like to say, okay, then from what you are saying, it means the problems that people are facing right now. You know, the people who have been saying, I did this to Seda and I haven't received this help that I wanted. I take it that those problems are going to be reduced because of DIMS.
So we're talking about service failures. What the issues that have been raised by the previous participants, and I've seen others in the chat. I mean, these are nothing more or less than service failures, and a service failure is never a good thing. It can have profound negative consequences for people that sometimes one feels institutions don't really understand the implications of a service failure. I think what we need to do is try and minimize the likelihood and incidence of service failures through more intuitive, digital, user-friendly access to things. I mean, the less that you need to go to a branch physically, go for, the better. The more you can access through your tablet, your iPad, your mobile device, the better. And it needs to be user-friendly, accessible, relevant, practical, which is why, you know, from our perspective as the EDSE, we've been really trying to support this digitalization of services and access to services, because if you're relying on physical visits to branches and things, you know, you're very limited in how many people you can support and reach and service. But Having said that, I think the onus is also on individuals, entrepreneurs, to understand what to do when you have a service failure. You shouldn't have to bring it to, I mean, I'm not criticizing the participants who brought this to the table here, because it's good to be aware of the, you know, the extent and the gravity of service failures. But you also need to know what to do with Seda when you experience a service failure, how to escalate it in a way that is productive and gets the result that you're looking for, because a lot of time can be wasted trying to fix a service failure. And I think sometimes clients of Seda and CIFA and other institutions need to be a little bit more assertive and demand resolution of service failures, because the institutions are there, they're taxpayer funded, they're there to serve us. And if they're not serving us and they're not acting professionally or doing what they've promised to do, then they need to know about it. Otherwise, they're not going to self-correct. If there are no consequences, they're not going to self-correct.
Great. Thank you very much, Martin. Thank you, Sis Nomvuyo. The other question was, does DEF, was it DEF, I think, does it have an impact part of it? How do you measure impact? I think that was the question. But we literally are over. Let me give you like 2 minutes. It's already 1:45. And all these lovely hands are probably tired. But Zandile, I'm going to ask you to go ahead. I'll give you your the last question. I am so sorry to the rest of you. Please don't be upset with me. I'm just here to please. Zandile, over to you. You can talk. Okay, I'm going to go over to the next person now, Zandile. Sorry about that. Davison, over to you.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to come and join and listen to Martin. Martin,
you have 1 minute, okay?
Okay, thank you. I'll try and make it short. My challenge with the district development model, with my over 20 years experience, has been quite a daunting one. But what I've done and what I would love to encourage everyone who is an aspiring business advisor or whoever, what to do. What I'm currently doing, I've gone through the district model development and I've drafted a business model that will work better for me as a practitioner. But how I've done that, I've actually went to grab the bull by its horn to say, I'm going to take the first step. I'm going to go and borrow the money to start, because that is the key failures of all these programs that government has set up. What I've done, I'm already in the process of borrowing about 37 million to kickstart the project on one province. That's going to be 5 district municipalities where I'm aiming to expand it. So it's not easy, but you need to have that guts as a business advisor to say, how can I enhance myself? Because the purpose of this project is to create employment for other people, not wait for Seda to give you a project to run. So we have to change the mentality, how we think. Then once you've started doing that, start with a small project that you can work on. Once you are familiar to how you're going to execute it, then you can start expanding the project. I'm starting at Northern Cape at the moment with one district, which is Francispat. I've already engaged other municipalities to say, guys, watch the space, I'm coming. And that's only when other ecosystem partners, Sedas, will say, okay, I'm coming on board. Where can we help you? Government will also come on board. If you're going to wait for government, it's not going to happen. I'll end it there, Tobeka.
Thank you, Davison. Vukuzenzele, wake up and do it yourself, but not just yourself. Let's work together. Let's collaborate. Love that. Any thoughts, Yolisa, on that, or Martin? And then you closing remarks.
Well, thanks, Tobeka, and again, thanks to Bongi for having invited us to come and share the dev on this platform with the practitioners who from all over the country. I've seen people participating from everywhere in the country, which is good for us. I think this is the first session where we share dev. We can come and share on what it is, the improvements that we are doing as we continue on this journey, like Martin said. So I just wanted to thank the participants and the questions that came, even the poll that you ran, 95% wanting BDS delivery at district level, as well as us continuing with providing capacity building to the practitioners that are on the platform. Thank you for having invited us, and I'm glad that we initiated some conversation and discussion with the practitioners. Thank you.
Martin,
I think
yeah, thanks. It's been a great discussion, and I'm just sorry that we haven't got to all the questions, but I've dropped my email in the chat, and I mean, anyone is welcome if anyone wants to find out more about anything we've spoken about. I just want to say, you know, I've worked with Seda. I've worked with Seda for a long time. I know Seda. I was on the board of Seda many years ago. I have probably a 20-year working relationship history with Seda. And I think on a personal level, I really see that Seda people are committed. The acting CEO, the board, the senior management. I mean, these people are serious about the challenges that South Africa faces in this space, and they're serious about becoming a more effective organization in the current form and in the new entity. And they, you know, it's understood that in today's world, you cannot hope to begin to achieve the kind of impact and reach that are needed without digital. And this is a key focus area, and also without understanding how important the ecosystem of practitioners is. Seda cannot do this alone. It's absolutely critical that Seda works with and supports and capacitates the practitioner community, and can then also, I think Seda has the capability, the capacity to then work on shared, agreed impact metrics. So we can finally actually have a sense of whether what we are doing at an aggregated level as a community of practitioners and as an ecosystem, what is the impact that we're having? You know, one practitioner can measure the impact with their clients, but we need, you know, we need the big picture in terms of data and impact and what's working, what's not working, and better align the needs with the services. But thanks, it's been a great session. It's been really, really fantastic. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much, Martin. I'm so sorry, Hilton, we're not allowing you on yet, but I just want to make sure we finish on time. But Derek, any thoughts, anything that came out for you? And then after that, I'll hand over to Sisbongi and Bonnie. Over you, Derek.
Thank you very much, Sis Tobega. I think this was a great session, and especially for information that is vital for the ecosystem to understand where we stand. And thank you, Sis Yolisa, for the presentation. And we are looking forward to having you. And I believe that also, Martin, thank you very much for answering the questions. And I believe that, Martin, we will have you again on this session so that you can assist us with accessing the entrepreneurs accessing funds internationally. Because that's another gap that we are looking at. So we're hoping to host you also. And thank you, everybody, for joining. As IBASA, we are available, and we believe that we are playing our role in the ecosystem, and we are looking forward to assisting you and helping you get accredited, but also complying in terms of your service delivery. but also working with you in terms of the opportunities that we get as IBASA of mentorship with different stakeholders. And we do have those opportunities. So we encourage you to be members and looking forward to have you. And thank you very much to Seda and to EPI. And we're hoping that next time we will have another session. Thank you.
Thank you. So that's some of the information for IBASA. We'll put it in the chat. Over to you, Sisbongi.
Thank you, Thobeka. I just want to thank all the participants for making the time, but also to thank the presenters or the speakers on this very important topic that we have discussed today. This was a very, very effective and interactive conversation that we needed to have with our key stakeholders. And someone posted something on the chat and that said, we cannot solve today's challenges with yesterday's solution. That is absolutely true. We need to move with times. And we were here today to share the DEF strategy and also to say, this is the role that the DSPD portfolio will be playing within the DEF strategy. But also to say, we need you as our stakeholders. And this, we cannot be able to do it alone. What also came out for me is Martin's suggestion to have a session on ESD. I think this is a very, very interesting topic to many of our practitioners. And yes, Martin, we have listened and we will be inviting you very soon to touch on the topic that seemed to be quite interesting to many of our practitioners. And I would like to thank our partners, EPI, as well as IBASA, for being part of this journey with us. And until we meet again, thank you so much, colleagues.
Thank you, Sisbongi, on those kind words. And of course, for sure, to echo Martin, we need to access all these companies 40% of the ESD funding that they haven't touched, and make sure we contribute to the impact of what we want our cities to look like, our provinces, our country, our continent, which will automatically impact the world. Because once we as Africa, as South Africans, as people of this land, of this world, participate fully, the advancement of our world will not be at its fullest capacity. And no better way than business coming in and our human selves and all the different stakeholders participating. And I'm really happy that we got to do this. Thank you so much for your time and your expertise, Yolisa Mkhize. Thank you very much for really sharing, and there's so much to be said. And Martin as well, with all your insight, your details in the chat. Thank you very much for doing that, and we'll learn more. Sisbongi, I'm very grateful that you requested your colleagues to come on this space as the capacity builder in those six blocks that were shared earlier on in the program. And it's always amazing on behalf of the EPI that we are in this relationship together. And all you lovely business practitioners out there, mentor, coach, facilitator, aspiring coach, aspiring mentor, aspiring practitioner. Thank you very much for coming here every month and being part of the space, and really take care of yourselves, take care of your health, take care of your mental health and your physical health, because these things kind of creep up on us. We look good, but we never know. So take care of yourselves. See you all in a month. Thank you all for your love, and have a good week, a good month. And we hope to see you at our next oh yes, one last important thing, as usual, so you all know you can register on our events so that you know, YouTube channel, the EPI that's there, the IBASA information as well, go onto IBASA's website as well as Seda. And lastly, as every month, we have our business clinics, all our entrepreneurs. Here's an opportunity. Please share with your network so that they can come and be diagnosed around their business opportunities. Thank you once again, and have a lovely week, a lovely month, and keep warm. Lots of love. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Yolisa. Bye.
Bye, everybody. Do those loves, do those emojis, Rashida. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. Thanks, Martin, again. We will be in touch, that's for sure.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Oh, look at that love. Bye, everybody. Bye, Rashida. Enjoy your holy day.
Thank you, Tobeka. See you tomorrow. Well, next week probably. Bye.
Yes. Bye, everyone. Bye.